All right, welcome back into episode number 3 of The Rundown, your number one weekly sports show on YouTube. Available on both the College Kids YouTube channel as well as the Follow the Action YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed to both for great sports and sports betting content. Today we're talking NBA Conference Finals. The Nuggets go up 2-0. I know that makes the college kids happy. You guys know it hurts me to the soul to see the Lakers and LeBron down. The Miami Heat steal game 1 on the road. We're going to talk about that. A little MLB update, of course. And at the end of today's video, we are discussing NFL futures with the 8-ball. You don't want to miss that. Now, before we get into the episode, you know the deal. Gotta promote the College Kids Experience, the 8-ball, the Philly Godfather, all on Twitter. If you're trying to win some money sports betting and you don't follow these guys, what are you doing? What are you doing? As well, if you like hearing me talk about sports, my channel will always be linked in the description and somewhere up at the top. And if you want to see my first reaction thoughts to the Lakers losing games, Twitter's the place to be at Dylan Mehl. Now let's hop into that. The Lakers lose game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. The Nuggets take a 2-0 series lead. And this is another one that really stings. Games 1 and 2 both were in the balance. Now, game 1 was different because the Lakers were down 15-20 the whole time and had a magical fourth quarter comeback, but still lost. This one, the Lakers were the better team and were up after 3 quarters. And then Jamal Murray got hot in the fourth. The Lakers and seemingly everybody else not named Jamal Murray were completely gassed. And the Nuggets went on to win the game. And does that have to do with the altitude? Probably. Is that an excuse? Absolutely not. You're in the NBA. You got to give that effort for the full 48. And the Lakers, they took their foot off the gas a little bit. Jamal Murray got hot. And when a guy like Jamal Murray gets hot, he can start knocking down the most difficult shots. And he did so in game 1. And he did so again in game 2 here to get a 37-point night, having about 20 of them in the fourth quarter after a really bad first 3 quarters. And we'll get into that later and what I think the Lakers got to do going forward. But hats off to you, Jamal Murray. Led this Nuggets team to victory, led Denver to a 2-0 commanding series lead. And now if you're the Lakers, you have to win 4 of the next 5 games. A pretty tall task. And you know, for the Nuggets, it was really the Jamal Murray show. Nikola Jokic was fine. On one of his bad nights, he still had a triple-double. But he didn't feel as impactful as he did in game 1. Absolutely. Michael Porter Jr. knocked down a couple tough shots. But really, that was it for Denver. Lower scoring game in this one, 108-103. But Jamal Murray, that was the man. Now for the Lakers. LeBron James and Anthony Davis. That is where the criticism has to be. We could start with Anthony Davis because he was 4 of 15 in this game, only had 18 points, and 9 of them came at the free throw. And he made a late 3, but this guy, after getting 40 points, and I was very confident if you checked out my videos, that they'd be able to get to the paint at will. And Anthony Davis was able to get to the paint, but he missed just about every single floater push shot that he took. Whether his legs weren't under him, or it's just another bad AD game. You know, for as good as Anthony Davis is, he has the most variance of a superstar player I've ever seen in terms of what his good nights are and what his bad nights are. On his best nights, you can argue Anthony Davis is the best offensive and defensive player in the NBA. But on his bad nights, if you had never watched basketball before, you wouldn't know the difference between him and DeAndre Ayton. And that sucks for the Lakers. It sucks for a 38-year-old LeBron James to have to rely on. And because of it, they're now down 2-0 in the series. And LeBron's not safe of criticism here either. LeBron had a fine game, but not to the star level that LeBron James is. And this dude has got to stop jacking up threes. They're not falling, man. You have Jamal Murray on you. You have Michael Porter Jr. on you. I know it takes more energy to drive to the hoop. I get it. But jacking up tough contested threes when you can't make them, you're better off just giving the ball to Austin Reeves to do that. So, if you're going to criticize the Lakers, it's got to be LeBron and AD. I thought the others played pretty well. D'Angelo Russell had a fine game. Austin Reeves had a good game. Rui Hachimura had a great game. And the Lakers still find themselves down in this series. And for Laker fans or people rooting for them like me, that sucks. For the college kids experience, who gave you the Nuggets as a future at the start of the season, that's great. Hopefully you took it. Because right now, as somebody who's got Lakers futures, I'm not feeling great. I'll be honest. But, Game 3 is on the way. So, what are some adjustments? I think that the Lakers very clearly have to turn Nikola Jokic into a scorer. I think... Well, Draymond Green said it on his show. He said that the way that the Warriors beat the Nuggets last year was their goal was to take away Nikola Jokic being a passer and let him just be the offense. And I get it. It's going to suck to concede some easy baskets inside the paint to Jokic. However, Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. are guys that when they get in rhythm, they don't miss. Now, if they can't get in rhythm because you're guarding them so tightly and just letting Jokic beat you, it's one man versus a team at that point. And I really think it's something that the Lakers should explore going into Game 3. Jokic is an all-around beast of a player. You have to take away part of his game, and the part of his game that you have to take away, in my opinion, is his passing. His ability to get the others going. As well, you have to be better in transition. These lazy efforts lead to easy baskets, and now you only lose a game by 5 points. You were within 3 the other night. It adds up. Every possession matters in the Western Conference Finals. And since you didn't treat it that way, you're down 2-0. So I expect the Lakers to come out in Game 3 with a ton of energy. I expect the crypt to be rocking. And, you know, I think even Nuggets fans will agree that the Lakers are very likely to win Game 3. We'll see what happens with Game 4. Like they say, a series doesn't start until a road team wins a game. And as well, a lot of people are saying the series is over. Myself included last night, felt very demoralized, tweeted out, Nuggets really about to sweep the Lakers, aren't they? Obviously, bit of an overreaction on my part. We're all guilty of it from time to time. Don't tell me you didn't. Don't tell me you've never been guilty of that. I know you have. But is the series over? No. No. In short order, no. You got to win 4 games. Nuggets have won 2 of them. But no, it's not over. The Lakers, they go home now. Away from the altitude, back to the crypt. Just as the Nuggets are undefeated at home in the playoffs, so are the Lakers. So the Lakers could easily win games 3 and 4. Now we got a best-of-3 series. But obviously the Lakers have to win a road game at some point in this series or their season's over. And, I did a little bit of digging. And LeBron James has been down 0-2 8 times in his career. He's 3 and 5. So, close to 500, not exactly. Most recently, he was down 0-2 twice in 2018, once against the Celtics, won that series in 7 on a game in the road, in a very tough road environment. And of course, he was down 0-2 in the finals, and LeBron, Tristan Thompson, and Kyle Korver just could not mount the comeback against Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson. But is the series over? No. But again, Jamal Murray leads the Nuggets to victory. Now, going to the East, the Miami Heat. They took Game 1 versus Boston. And if you follow me closely, I called this one. But I do have Boston winning the series in 7 still. Now, many people thought this would be a cakewalk for Boston. Let's go over the 3 reasons that I did not. Of course, in retrospect of Game 1, these sound not duh, but obviously my points came to fruition in Game 1. But if you want to see that they were true, check out my conference finals prediction on my channel. But Miami has the far better coach. Erik Spoelstra is the best coach in the league, and Joe Mazzulla is a mid-level guy. And when you're down to the Final 4 teams, that type of stuff really matters. Erik Spoelstra, much better on the X's and O's than Joe Mazzulla. Jimmy Butler versus Jason Tatum in the playoffs is a debate. I understand that in the regular season, of course, it's not. Jimmy Butler came fourth in MVP voting. I'm sorry, Jason Tatum came fourth in MVP voting, not Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler didn't even make the All-Star team or an All-NBA team. I believe actually he did make an All-NBA team, but he didn't make the All-Star team. This guy is not a regular season player. And it's really the inverse effect of, say, a James Harden, where James Harden's great in the regular season and shrinks in the playoffs. Jimmy Butler is walking through the regular season and expands big time in the postseason. And Jason Tatum has nights where he just shrinks. And lastly, Miami's the same team night to night. They are the definition of consistency. And does that have to deal with coaching? Yes, but that also has to deal with guys who know and accept their role. While Boston, they're a different team night to night. And they have really high highs, but they have some low lows. Whereas Miami is a steady, good to great team. Those are the three reasons that I think Miami has a real shot in this series. And Jimmy Butler was the best player in Game 1. He's the third player to ever have multiple 35, 5, 5, and 5 games in the playoffs. The other two being Allen Iverson and Michael Jeffrey Jordan. So, when you're in company with those guys, obviously, you're doing something right. And Jimmy Butler has a little bit of a LeBron-esque quality to him. In the must-win games, in the games that really feel like you got to take it, he shows up and has a great night. We saw it in the Milwaukee series. He has his ability to put his foot on the gas, and then versus the Knicks, he has the ability to slow down and let his teammates do the work. Jimmy Butler knows in this Boston series, he's going to have his foot on the gas. And he did so in amazing fashion. And Boston worked right into Miami's game plan. Boston is a team that is driven by analytics now. Whether you like that or not, they're very predictable. They want threes and layups, and that's it. So what does Miami do? They keep Bam Adebayo playing a safety-esque type role by the hoop. And their whole goal is to drive Boston off the three over and over and over and over again. Boston normally likes to get 40-plus three-point shots up. In this game, they only got 29. You saw the Jason Tatum travel. That was a result of Miami's defensive game plan. Miami is willing to concede an open mid-range jumper because they know that Boston will not take them. For whatever reason. Even if they're wide open. They are so coached in their mind. Threes and layups, that's it. So Miami's game plan is to force them into shots that they just simply won't take, even if they're open. Go look at the shot chart Game 1 if you don't believe me. Now, Miami's plan on offense is to get Jimmy Butler the ball late and have him hunt Malcolm Brogdon. I don't know why Malcolm Brogdon's in the game when you already have Marcus Smart as a ball handler, when you see that Jimmy Butler's hunting him. But again, that's coaching. So what are my Game 2 expectations? I think Boston definitely wins the game, right? This has got to be must-win, do-or-die attitude for the Boston Celtics. I expect them to win the game. As well, I expect Boston to play Grant Williams and Al Horford at the end of the game. You have to be able to pull Bam Adebayo out of the paint. Robert Williams isn't a threat anywhere else, and you got to play Grant Williams. That way you could have a body to defend Jimmy Butler. Malcolm Brogdon does not need to be out there, and even if Jimmy switches on to Marcus Smart, that guy won Defensive Player of the Year last year. I'm not sure what Miami's counterpunch is, but that's what I expect for Boston to do to come out and take Game 2. Now on to the Diamond. Little MLB talk before we head into the NFL Futures talk. Again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you smash that button, leave a like on this video, and comment your NBA Finals prediction down below. But we're at the point in the MLB season where things kind of start setting into place. And we kind of get a lay of the land and see how things are going to be. And the NL is a little wild. The National League is not what I expected. The Braves and the Dodgers, definition of consistency over the past 5 years. No shocker that they're at the top of their divisions. But after that, things get a little wonky. And I'm not sure what's more weird. The fact that the Mets, Phillies, Padres, and Cardinals are all under 500. Or the fact that the Pirates, Diamondbacks, Brewers, and Marlins are all currently playoff teams. I don't know how to look at this going forward because on paper, the Mets, Phillies, Padres, and Cards all look like playoff teams. But is there a certain point where we admit to ourselves that, hey, that's not going to happen this year? Or, since it's still May, do we hold out hope that the turnaround's on the way and we know how talent progresses and summer's not even here? I'm still holding out hope until the All-Star break, but the National League has a real shot to be real wild this year. As well, for the AL, the Astros, they're on a 5-game heater. They're climbing their way back to AL West first place. I said this a couple weeks ago. The Yankees are looking good. You know, the turnaround is coming for the AL teams, and it kind of has been coming already. Meanwhile, the NL, we're waiting. And the AL East is going to be a dogfight. We know that. We knew that going into this year. But let me know what your expectations are for the MLB season in the comment section. Now, let's get into my NFL Futures interview with the 8 Ball. And welcome in the very first guest of the rundown, the 8 Ball. This guy's a fortune teller. When it comes to sports betting, if you're not following him on Twitter, you're just costing yourself money at this point. Welcome in. And today we're talking NFL futures. I'm excited to have you on here. We got to start, of course, with the Philadelphia Eagles, whose win-loss line is set at 11.5 right now. A little steep, coming off of a Super Bowl appearance. Tell me how you're feeling about that.
So I think the early part of the schedule favors them, but then they hit a rough patch when they go into, I think it's KC, San Fran, Buffalo, Dallas. So it's a really tough stretch right there.
Yeah, right out of the bye, they travel to Kansas City. Them and the Chiefs both off of a bye, primetime game. Then they are at home hosting Buffalo. Josh Allen digs that offense. At home hosting San Francisco. You know, the Niners have been talking trash all offseason. You know they're going to come into that game motivated. And then, of course, at Jerry World, at Dallas. Been a struggle for the Eagles. So a real tough month there. 11.5 is a high total, right? You got a tougher schedule because you were just in the Super Bowl. And now you can't even have any injuries. When I did my predictions, I have them at 12-5. So I am on the side of the over, but not confidently, because when you do these predictions, it's not baking in any injuries at this point in the season, especially. So one injury slips for the Eagles, and that under hits. Are you going to be actively betting the under, or if you just had to pick a side, you'd pick the under?
So I haven't touched it as of now, but I lean under. They lost their offensive coordinator. They lost their defensive coordinator. They got a couple new pieces in the secondary. I think Gardner Johnson left. He went to Detroit.
Yep.
They have to replace him. A new piece on the defensive line. I think it's going to take them time to get to gel. And everything went their way last year in terms of schedule. All 22 starters played in the Super Bowl, so you really don't see that happening. I think injuries might come to bite them a little bit more this year, and I think the under 11.5 is the way to go here.
Yeah, a lot of young players starting for that defense are getting reps. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Nakobe Dean, Nolan Smith. That's a lot of young guys in the front seven. I like that they have experience together from Georgia. I think that could potentially help the Eagles in a playoff run. But for the regular season, I could see them taking a step back. You know, they play Miami, they play the Jets early. Those are games that are losable. And we know that NFC East division always plays each other tough. But moving forward, I want to talk about your two big Super Bowl bets. And Philly fans, close your ears, because we talked about the under. And now tell us about your NFC Super Bowl prediction.
So I took the Dallas Cowboys at 16-1. This team won 12 games last year despite Dak missing the early part of the season. He also led the league in turnovers, which I don't think he's going to repeat that this year. I think he returns back to form to his MVP level season where he threw 37 touchdowns, I think 10 interceptions. You saw them go into San Fran, play them tough in the playoffs. They added Brandon Cooks to that offense, should open up more targets for CeeDee Lamb. You add Stephon Gilmore to that defense, another playmaker next to Diggs. You add another monster to that defensive line. And if you look at this conference, in my opinion, there's only three real contenders. You have San Fran, you have Philly, and you have Dallas. Now, two of these three teams have quarterbacks. And you could argue Philly and Dallas probably have the best two quarterbacks in the conference. So I think when you're mentioning contenders, you have to start with those two teams.
Yeah, and especially, like you said, everything went right last year for Philly. San Francisco lacking a quarterback. Dallas, a little reverse regression. Some progression could be coming for this team. I love the addition of Stephon Gilmore. Hate it as an Eagles fan, but love it for the Cowboys. Now you have two really solid corners to match up with an A.J. Brown and a Devonta Smith in the playoffs, or a Deebo Samuel and a Brandon Ayuk in the playoffs. And even if Seattle makes a run, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, or Jackson Smith-Njigba, who's ever the two at that point in the season, you got those two corners. I think it's vital in the NFC because there are some good wide receivers despite a lack of great quarterback play. And like you said, Brandon Cooks, I think this guy is a veteran presence who knows how to win. You know, he made the Super Bowl with the Patriots. He was a part of that Rams team just a year before they got to the Super Bowl. A couple off years in Houston. Obviously, they're not a winning franchise, but he was putting up good numbers, and he's still just 29 years old. So this guy, while he's a vet, he's not old. He's not washed. He is a very, very solid number two. And I think Dak Prescott, you know, is a little sleeper pick for MVP. I think with these weapons, Tony Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Brandon Cooks, that offense that's going to be rolling. And in an NFC that's weak, he could lead the Cowboys to a 1 seed, and we know that matters for MVP voting, as much as that pains me to say. But I want to talk about your AFC pick, because in the AFC, it's real tough, right? You could go chalk and you could go Chiefs or Bengals. But there's a lot of value with some of these other teams here, and especially the value that you got on your pick. Let's hear it.
So I took the Miami Dolphins 40-1. They're in a very tough division, but I see regression from the Bills coming this year. I think the Patriots are an average team, and I think it's going to take some time for the Jets to start gelling with all the new pieces, Aaron Rodgers and all that. Miami last year, they were 8-3 before the injuries. I think Mike McDaniels, you know, he's one of those guys where he's going to put them in a position to win, one of those up-and-coming offensive minds like Sean McVay was. I think Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, top 5, top 3 wide receiver tandem. They add Jalen Ramsey to that back end of that defense. They have Bradley Chubb in his second year there. I think they have all the pieces to go to the next level here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the NFL is just quickly becoming a weapons league, and you could argue that they have the best wide receiver duo in the NFL with Tyreek and Waddle, certainly the fastest. That tandem in motion, like you mentioned, it's just going to be hell for defenses to face. You know, I like the Bills' regression pick. They won the division a lot in recent memory. The Patriots, like you said, they're bad. The Jets got to have time to gel. Miami was 8-3 last year before Tua gets hurt. Miami put up a fight with, who was it, Skylar Thompson at quarterback in Buffalo. They put up a fight with those weapons.
Yeah.
You know, with Tua, they won that game in the regular season, and with the way that it played out, I'd be confident they won it again in the postseason. Then who knows what happens if it's Tua versus the Bengals and so forth. Chiefs defense, can they guard Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle? I'm not so sold. But I really like the value that you got at that pick there, because some people are going Jets, going with the hype of Aaron Rodgers. But like you said, it's going to take some time to gel, and I doubt their playoff seeding is great. Bills' regression could be coming. Chemistry issues, you know, people are forgetting, but it boiled up in that game, in that Cincinnati-Buffalo game. Stephon Diggs was yelling at Josh Allen, and we know he's been a wide receiver in the past that if he's out on his quarterback, he's out. The Chiefs, they made it to the Super Bowl last year, but didn't really improve at weapons. In a weapons-driven league. Yes, they have Travis Kelce, but, you know, Kadarius Toney's wide receiver 1. How much can you rely on him? The Bengals are still a threat, of course. The Ravens, we'll see what that new-look offense is like. Can they stay healthy? I love the pick of the Dolphins, especially at the value that you got them at. Now, those are your major bets. And, you know, I've hopped in the game a little bit. I've been inspired by you guys. And my favorite season-long bet is the Jacksonville Jaguars over 9.5 wins. I think they have a top 5 quarterback in the league. I think they are adding another weapon in Calvin Ridley that people are not so sure about, like remembering. Christian Kirk had a monster year for them last year. Travis Etienne, Evan Ingram, Zay Jones, Tank Bigsby. They got weapons on offense. The second year of Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence together. We saw in Philly what happened with him and Carson Wentz. MVP level season and the 1 seed. Plus, they play in a very weak division, perhaps the weakest in all of football. AFC or NFC South, you can make your case there. The Texans, rookie quarterback, rookie coach as well. The Colts, rookie quarterback. And then the Titans. Is Tannehill going to be the guy all year? Just Trask it in there? The direction of that franchise is up in the air. Jacksonville won a playoff game last year, came back down 28 points against a high-powered Chargers offense, and that was without Calvin Ridley. How do you feel about that pick over 9.5 wins? Just a 10-7 record, I feel, is very doable for the Jaguars.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely like that pick. They're in a weak division. Colts are in a rebuild. Texans are in a rebuild. The Titans are trying to transition from Tannehill to the next guy. We'll see if they're competitive or not. But Jacksonville, the second half of last season, they lit it up. You saw they had a great comeback against the Chargers in the playoffs. If Trevor Lawrence takes that next step, they'll easily get this over 9.5 wins and be a major threat in the playoff race.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Those are our favorite NFL bets. Be sure to let us know yours in the comments section. Are you tailing any of the Super Bowl bets? Are you riding with me on the Jags over 9.5 wins? I appreciate you joining us, the 8 Ball. Give him a follow on Twitter. What are you up this week, this month? I know you were tweeting out some of the stats. Tell the people where we're at.
The last 13 days, we're up 40 positions. We've hit 59% in the NBA playoffs, and just trying to keep it rolling.
Yeah, keeping it rolling for sure. Thank you for joining us. Have a good one.
Thanks for having me.